This is KCCK's Culture Crawl. I'm Dennis Green, and my guests today are from the Cedar Rapids Museum of Art and an upcoming exhibition, which is called Letters to My Ancestors. Tara Moorman is the artist. Welcome, Tara. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
And Kate Kunow, who is the curator of the Cedar Rapids Museum of Art. Nice to see you, Kate.
Good to be here.
And the exhibit is up, and we'll talk about a special event coming up in just a few minutes. But Tara, this exhibit was inspired by photographs of your family.
Right, old photographs. Like some of them are dating back to the 1870s, and then they go through kind of the 1960s.
So, how did you come upon them? Were you doing some genealogical research, or?
Well, no, not exactly. My mother had passed away, and we were in the task of cleaning out her home, and she had this big trunk, you know how mothers and grandmothers do. So they were in there, and there were a lot of them that my brother and I hadn't remembered seeing before. So that kind of started this thread in my mind of, wouldn't it be fun to paint these old photographs and kind of bring them back to life?
And you've painted for a long time, and is watercolor your main thing, or is it just something that you enjoy doing amongst other painting?
It's my main thing. Yeah, I love it.
And what were you, as you're painting from a picture is a lot different than painting from a real subject. Well, to start with, you don't have to worry about them moving or needing to get up and go to the bathroom. So right. Easier from that perspective.
Exactly.
But what emotions were you trying to evoke as you were painting these? Some of them you probably knew, not right. When they looked like they did in the pictures,
right.
Probably, and some of them maybe not at all.
Right. Yeah, so it was it was challenging. I do paint a lot from life, so that's helpful when you then start painting from photographs, because you understand that photographs will flatten the picture plane, and shadows look a lot darker in photographs than they are in life. So I have that experience, but I would call myself an intentional painter, and I've always, for like the past 20 years, when I start a painting, my intention is always to connect with spirit. For me, it's God. For somebody else, it might be a higher power or something like that. And then I intend to bring that light and love into the painting. So that was what I did on all of these, but I also asked to connect with the people that were in the pictures. So that's kind of where the concept of the letters to the ancestors is. I started having a conversation with these people in my mind, and I would stop when I had a chance to stop the watercolor painting, and I would write down some of the things that we talked about. So.
Oh, okay. And where are those? Where do those? Are
Well,
those just in your
published.
personal notes? Okay.
The museum is publishing a beautiful book, and it will be available.
That turned out great.
Yeah, it's got all 21 or 22 of the paintings in it, and all the stories that went along with it.
So who was the oldest or most remote ancestor that you painted?
That would be my third great-grandfather, and his photograph was the one that really kind of piqued my interest, because I never remembered seeing it. And I'm grateful to my grandmother, because she had written names on the back of most of these, so that's always a good thing for grandmothers or mothers to do. And he was a biological father to my second great-grandfather of my maternal grandmothers. And but he didn't stick around to raise him. So he was raised by his stepfather. And then his biological father came back and claimed him when he was 18 years old. And so he then took that family name, and in our conversations, he told me that he forgave his biological father for leaving him. So, but he's when I painted the third great-grandfather, because he was kind of the black sheep. I didn't even know he existed till I was in my 20s. But he said that I painted him like the handsome devil that he was.
Who was the most recent?
Well, I'm in the paintings as a child, and my siblings, my brother and my little sister, and so we would be the most recent.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many paintings in total?
22.
Okay. Have you ever heard of anyone doing anything similar to this?
I know that other artists have used photographs, old photographs in different ways to honor their ancestors. But I never really studied, what anybody did. The reason I chose watercolor is because watercolor, you can get a really great light coming from the paintings. And I was interested in showing these people, they are dead. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to show their light. I wanted to show their auras. And with watercolor, the transparency of the medium allows the white of the paper to shine through. So that's what appeals to a lot of people about the watercolors.
Did you bring an example with you?
I brought some of the old photographs.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, if you'd
I'll
like to
remember
see those,
yes.
yeah.
So for our radio audience, not going to be able to see these very well, but our audience on the video. So if you're listening on the radio, check out the video on social media, and you can see a couple of the pictures.
This is the one handsome devil.
Point it there, yeah.
Okay.
Right there.
They had great handlebar mustaches and.
Very of the time.
Yeah. So this man was born in 1838, and I can't really figure out about how old he is there, but I would imagine this is one of the oldest photographs.
Mm-hmm. Well, show us one more. You got a nice selection there.
Yeah.
Oh, that one's sweet.
This is a tintype. This is this is my great-grandmother, and she was born in 1864. So this one, when we found these photographs, we were there for a couple days, and then we were closing up her house, and we would not be back. The house was going to go on the market. And I was leaving, and as I went out the back door, I felt almost like I was being tapped on the shoulder. There was something that I was leaving behind. So I went back in, went into my mother's bedroom, and there were a stack of older Bibles there, but two really old ones on top. And I just took those old Bibles and brought them home. I didn't really look at them. And about a month later, I thought, I should look at these. And I opened the smallest one that was on top, and this photograph fell out of it.
Wow.
So this is one of the paintings, and it's called Hidden Treasure. And so that's kind of a tip to all you genealogists. Be sure you look in all the old Bibles.
Check the Bibles. This is fabulous, of course, but in some ways it also makes me a little sad, because I think of how we are not leaving these kinds of records for our great grandchildren. Right. They're
exactly.
just, they're gonna have to try and figure out a way to power up my phone.
They're gonna have to find that charger.
It is sad.
In some pile.
Kate, the exhibit is open now.
Yeah, it opened on May 13th, and it runs through August 27th. But there is an official opening for Tara's exhibition and our other watercolor exhibition this summer on June 1st from 5 to 7 p.m. So we're very excited about that.
Tell me just a little bit about the other watercolor exhibition.
Well, after I decided we were going to do Tara's show, we decided to make it a summer of watercolor at the museum. So the other exhibition that we have, Tara's is upstairs, the other one is downstairs. It pulls from the 400 plus watercolors that we have in the CRMA collection. And it just takes a really wide look at the various things you can do with the watercolor medium, because as Tara alluded to, it's a demanding medium, certainly. It's I've done it. It's very difficult. It's really hard to be precise in it.
It's runny.
It's challenging. Yeah, so it's really cool to have Tara's beautiful exhibition, which is all, she gave these beautiful jewel tones to these old sepia photographs, and it looks really stunning. And then the other watercolor exhibition, which is called Uncharted Waters, it really looks at the variants of things you can do with watercolor. You can be really precise, or you can be much more, washy and abstract. So there are actually a lot of different things you can do with the medium.
Okay. Well, the exhibit is called Letters to My Ancestors, with other watercolors, of course, being exhibited out of the collection, too, on now at the Cedar Rapids Museum of Art. And again, the opening reception where you can meet Tara and hear her tell the stories of some of these in person is...
Thursday, June 1st from 5 to 7.
And if people want to know admission and hours and all of that at the museum, they can come to your website, which is...
www.crma.org.
Kate Kunow and Tara Moorman, and Letters to My Ancestors. Ladies, thanks for coming in today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.